right. It is so wonderful to be here. Thank y'all so much for having me, and Happy New Year. You know, it's we're doing another New Year. It's funny. Okay, it's hard to know who to say Happy New Year to, because some people already seem like they're not having a great one. Yeah, like you'll see somebody and be like, I'm gonna let this one go. Being here for New Year's was great. I went with my girlfriend and some friends, and we had a great time. And then it was midnight, and so a little while after midnight, about like 12:03. I don't know if you can tell from looking at me, but I'm not like fun. So 3 minutes after midnight, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna go home. And so I started walking home. And one of the wildest things about a new year is that it sneaks up on you in a way that you would think stops happening. As you get older, you're like, you're not gonna get me this time. I'm gonna be ready for you. And then it's over. And there's a whole nother year. And there's things you wish you could leave behind in the new. You didn't have time to like fix who you were for the new year. Whenever they say like new year, new me, it's two sides of that coin. It's a new year. The year did its part. Now you have to be a new person. There's so many things you wish you could leave behind. Like, it would be great if a new year meant there were just no more bad habits. Like the bad habits melted off. They were like 2025 things. And now in 2026, you just don't even think to do those things anymore. That's not one of your habits at all. I was walking back to the Airbnb, and I saw this guy crossing paths with me. And I was, in my head, I was like, maybe I should say Happy New Year. The year's 5 minutes old. I was even about to say it, but as I'm passing this guy, as we cross paths, I just hear this guy to himself go, no, 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 no. And holding his stomach so tight. No, 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 no. And I knew he wished he could have left it in 2025. I've been having a great time eating here, because y'all forget, y'all take for granted. I don't even know everyone in here, but I know what I'm saying is true. You take for granted that your food is food. And like, your food is food. I live in the US. I live in America, where the food is food shaped. One thing I will say for the food in America, it will always be the shape of food that you're expecting. And we've come out with new shapes. We have new shapes for food. You'll want chicken. Let's have some chicken. Great, we've made a chicken nugget for you. Okay, I'm still familiar with those. Will it be like a little clump of meat with some breading around it, grilled up, or will it be deep fried, nice and delicious? No, this one will look like a dinosaur. Is it dinosaur meat? No, it's chicken. Or at least we say it's chicken, but it's dinosaur-shaped meat. All the food will be the right shape it's supposed to be, in the shape of the food that you think you're buying. But when you eat it, you're like, you got me. This isn't food. We literally have a show where we shape all manner of things and ask the question, is this cake? That should give you an indication of what the food is like. All the food here is like food. And don't get me wrong, you have your junk food. You do. You have plenty of your own junk food, and that's very cute, okay? I've had this conversation, I've even had this argument with plenty of Australians, and they'll be like, no, we have our unhealthy food. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I was talking about. You have your junk food, which is it's a fascinating attempt at junk food. But that's like telling an American that you also have junk food is like meeting LeBron and being like, I play too. Like, You can't even begin to understand the levels of junk food we have reached. We are the king. And not to come over here and tell you that America's better at something and be a real American about it, but like we are very good at junk food. We're so good, we're dying. We're dying in droves. We can't stop dying, but we also can't stop eating because we went in the lab and we were like, they won't be able to say no to this concoction. Your food is like food. That's crazy. Full food. Like it has, like you can feel nutrients hitting. You can feel, okay, look. I know this is a bad example, but you know like when somebody does drugs on TV and then because they don't have enough time to show what actual drug use looks like, or maybe they don't want to, they make it look like drugs happen like that, like immediately, like someone does the drug and then they're like, ugh, like it's... Okay, that is what your food is like. When I'm eating it, I'm like, that is what wow. I had steak here. I had steak. And I felt like, after I ate the steak, I felt like I could fight. Not as in I was angry. I felt like I knew how. Because so much protein had gone into my body. And like actual protein, not the protein that we put out. Because in the US, we have lots of protein. We love making everything protein-packed. Protein will make up for how much sugar we also put in the thing. So then we'll have protein on protein on protein. So if you eat this, that's all your protein for the day. And you want to be big and strong, don't you? And then you eat that protein and then they'll make a commercial a couple months later where they're like, hey, did you eat this protein? We're so sorry. That was poison. That was like actual rat poison that we put in there. It was the same color as our protein mix. And so you understand how mistakes get made. But here I was eating, wow. Whoa. In the U.S., we have foods that you don't have here that are like junk food, but we also have flavors that y'all don't have here because you have like laws out of self-respect, and so the law here, it'll be against the law to bring that flavor here. Someone, and I don't even know if they're here, then congratulations to you, more power to you. But I imagine they're not even here. Someone from a long time ago was like tasting things from other places, and then they were like, "That's good. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's great. Yeah, bring that." And then they had some flavors from the U.S. and they must have died. They must have promptly died because you don't have those flavors here, and they're like illegal to bring here. But we love them in the U.S. A child's favorite flavor won't even be a flavor that you're thinking of. You'll think of something like spice. You might even think of a seasoning. Like, oh, paprika. A little bit of pepper. Oh, this is so good. No, I'm not. You're talking about like seasoning from food. You're used to food. It's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about flavors that you could never imagine because they don't exist in nature, because they're not real. Use your imagination. I'm talking about flavors that don't make any sense. You will talk to a child in the US and their favorite flavor is blue. I don't mean blueberry. I don't mean a natural, the hot pink but blue color that's usually just on posters for movies. That will be the color of a food, and that color has a flavor, and that will be that child's favorite flavor because they've never been introduced to food. And then, as someone from the U.S., as an American, you travel, and you find out that we have this horrible reputation for being like loud and boisterous, dumb stuff. And everyone, I don't care where you're from, everyone has at least some shred of national pride where they want to be like, no, we are not. I am not the worst of us that you may have met. Right? Everyone has that thing. And so you're inclined, when you hear these rumors about the U.S., you're inclined to be like, no, I read all the time. I read and I'm perfectly easy to get along with and everything. What would make you think that we're What would make you think that we're this way? And then they'll tell you a story that once you hear it, you can tell that they're telling the truth. They'll tell you a story that breaks your heart a little bit. They'll tell you about meeting like a nice American family that actually were, well-behaved, perfectly pleasant people, but they seemed a bit dumb. And you're like, why are you judging them? That's a prejudice that you think they're dumb. And then they'll tell you, we had a conversation and, the mom and the dad were perfectly nice people, but then we turned and, the child was trying to get his mom's attention and we said hello. And he said hello. And then, they were talking. And the kid was looking up and saying, Mommy, can I have something? And then we asked the kid, oh, yes, what would you like? What's your favorite? And the child was like, my favorite flavor is blue. And as soon as you hear that, you're like, yep, that definitely happened. That 100% happened. We make attempts at food. We still have the fruits and vegetables for sale in the U.S. They're there. You can buy, if you went, you could buy them. You would see them there. And you would even think, you would walk in to a grocery store and you'd be like, this is just like a Kohl's. Look, it's basically a Woolworths. And then you'll bring the produce home and you'll eat it because they can't fool you forever. And you'll take a bite of like a blueberry. I remember when I had my first blueberry of this trip and my first blueberry in Australia, period. Because I've been several times now. And I had my first blueberry and I was like, wow, whoa. It makes you want to strangle someone for keeping the secret of blueberries from you. Everybody walking around all nonchalant. Smiling, acting like the blueberries here aren't good. I see you keeping secrets. You thought you could get it past me? I had a blueberry here and I was like, jeez. What is, wow. Did that thing where you don't want the food to be over. I did that weird thing where, I bought several blueberries. I didn't buy just one blueberry. So it's like, I don't know why I was like Oliver twisting it, but like it bought this blueberry and then I was just... I was scared to have another one. Because I was like, what if that was the best blueberry? What if that one was the best though? And the next one is gonna taste like the ones I'm used to. I had another one, and the other one was crispier. It was tighter. Because this is the thing. This is what's crazy that you take for granted. Y'all put your produce out when it's like ready. Don't let the U.S., anyone in the U.S. but me, I'm the only one your secret is safe with. Don't let them come over here and find out that you put out the avocado when it's ready. That's not what's happening in the U.S. I'll tell you about it in a second. But the blueberry, it was tight. It fought me a little. I put blueberry in my mouth and tried to start chewing. Blueberry over here being coy. It was like, No. What are you doing? Okay. That's not what's happening. In the U.S., you have a blueberry, and it is blueberry shaped. They play a mean game. It's blueberry shaped. It's even, you pick it up, it's even blueberry weight, and then you pop it in your mouth and you start chewing, and you're like, this is a nipple. There's no way that it has no give to it. I'm still chewing. This is crazy. The avocados here, the fact that you can buy it And it's like, you know what I mean? You could eat it that day. You could not. You could save a day. In the U.S., we do a thing with our avocados where we put them out as if they're gonna be food. And then it's a lottery that you can't possibly win of which avocado will be a ripe avocado. Because there are some avocados where you feel it and you're like, okay. And then there's the little test you can do. Like, oh, you know, if you press, just give it a little bit of push with your thumb. And if it pushes too easy, it's a little bit overripe. And if it has no push, then you might as well give it a year. I've had a couple of avocados here where I can admit they were a little tough, but still they were like ready. It was like they were put out with some sort of care. But the avocados in the US, you buy one and you're like, all right, I like to gamble. Let's play. And then you bring it home and one of two things happens. Either you cut it with a knife and you open it up, and you know how it has the seed in the middle. It will all be as hard as the seed, the whole seed. In fact, the first time I bought avocado in the U.S., I was like, I was living on my own, and there were a bunch of foods and a bunch of produce that I had never tried until I was out on my own, right? And so I remember buying an avocado and bringing it back and trying to cut into this avocado. You would think I was cutting the kitchen counter because it not only did it have like no give to it, but by the time I was done, I had actually cut through the whole avocado because the whole avocado was as tough as the seed. Or the second thing will happen. The second thing, which is you bring the avocado home, you put it on the counter, and it disintegrates in front of you. It gets so soft in front of you that you go to cut it, and it's like, no need, and it opens up. And you see a tiny demon's face. A little whisper of vapor goes up. And you lost. No, never take for granted the food that you have. This is real food. Like I couldn't understand. I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because you probably should. Like I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because like being vegan in the U.S. is like a self-preservation because they're telling you. Sometimes they'll tell you, we've actually loosened a bunch of regulations around what we can feed the animal. So, for instance, in the U.S., there are some pigs that are straight up fed sawdust to stretch the food that they are fed. So it's like sawdust, they cut it with whatever they're feeding them. So then when you eat it, you're like, oh, there's no wonder it tastes like splinters, you know? And here, y'all are like, oh, no, we should eat quality meat. And that quality meat, I have not been to a farm in Australia, but I've passed a couple, and it looks like a good life. I feel like it'd be very hard to be vegan here because you're eating good meat. This is very good meat, but all this meat has a story. Every burger could have its own like Babe trilogy. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you eat good meat and it's treated well. It tastes good because it was good. That was a good dude that you. Oh, he was courageous. He was good to his friends and everything. That's why meat's so supple, you know. In America, you're like, no, I could tell this meat also, it not only did it have a hard life, but it probably wasn't a good person either. Like you could tell this chicken was racist or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, something. Even the animals has been an adjustment. I'm sure so many people come and visit and talk to you about like, oh, your animals. It's all terrifying. How do you do it? How do you get by with the fact that like everything can kill you? Y'all just don't care, you know. And it is weird what is after you here. You know? Like I s- I saw a spider here. Don't do that. Don't do that. I saw a spider here, and it's crazy. This is backwards, by the way. Every science book in the U.S. or fairy tale I've read goes the opposite of how it goes here. Because y'all's biggest spider that has, like, personality. Your biggest spider that's over here just floating in front of you. And legs open. I don't know if this actually happened or if it happened out of fear in my head that I was filling in the blanks and stuff like that, but I could swear I heard it. It was in front of me. Like, yeah, I mean, like it had a chuckle like an uncle. You know? That one you don't need to worry about. Y'all will walk up to that one, let it crawl in your hand, open a door, and toss it out. That's crazy. I need to understand how opposite of every law of human fear that goes against. Meanwhile, the smallest, the tiniest, not even worth mentioning. You could barely see it. That's the one that bites you and you explode. You. I've watched it happen. I was watching this nature documentary, and this dude. It's funny because maybe it wasn't a nature. Actually, okay. To be fair, that was, I don't know. It was probably, I don't know if racist is the right word, but it was probably bigoted of me to be watching this Australian guy talking and see spiders and assume it was a nature documentary. He may have just been living his life, but like. There was a huge spider. It was in his face too. And the cameraman was following him, and it caught right up to him because he turned and it was right there, right? And it was over. Right? And then he went and then moved out of the way. They kept walking. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know he was the bravest man that ever lived. And then this is like maybe like 10 minutes later in the doc, he's talking. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he's talking. And then he goes, ah! They zoom in, he moves out of the way. The tiniest, barely worth mentioning, smallest spider is smeared on the wall, and then the camera goes back to him, and he's like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. This is completely unfair. Oh, this is insane. Even from what I've seen, like this kangaroo situation. Why didn't you warn anybody? Why didn't you tell anybody? Every single kangaroo has been to jail. Every single one of them. Why are y'all acting? Y'all exported the idea of kangaroos like they were just this fun little animal that loved to hop back on its tail and box a little. That's that was bad on your part. You should take some responsibility for that. I'm not gonna lie. That can't be our fault that we all thought that they all smiled. Like that's every picture of a kangaroo ever. The mom smiling, the little one popping out of the pouch like. Meanwhile, you come to Australia and the kangaroos are over here. Every kangaroo looks at you like you just said something you shouldn't have said about its mother. That's insane. You didn't tell anybody that they had claws. This is... Because y'all love to play these pranks on people who come visit. You love to talk about like drop bears and all this stuff like that. Y'all, forget the drop bear. You already did it with the kangaroo. Americans are gonna come over here like, oh, there's one. Give me a high five, throat out. Nobody told us how strong these things were. The first time I even saw a kangaroo that was like real, that was like you know what I mean? Like the kangaroo, the way that y'all would see a kangaroo and keep driving. That one of those kangaroos, the first time I ever saw one was the one thing that you let slip. The one video you let slip to the rest of the world. The one. Where that guy, his dog was with the kangaroo. You didn't tell us that kangaroos love drowning dogs. That sounds like an attribute you'd want to get out there. Imagine if America just sent out an animal into the world, like an American like cow, right? An American cow, this is a prime American cow right here. And we just let people come see it. And just never told them details that would be very important to know if you were gonna meet a cow. Imagine if we were like, oh yeah, cow, yeah. You can go pet them if you want. Oh, by the way, they do stand up, so. Just be mindful of that, you know, when you walk up to them and everything. No, this kangaroo's over here. Kangaroos love to drown dogs. As a friend, let me help you with something. I understand that you are used to these wild and dangerous animals, but some aspects of what they like to do are deeply troubling. And so for you to not communicate first that the kangaroo, which we only know through y'all, loves to drown dogs. Do better, all right? Imagine if I had a friend who I was introducing you to, right? This is Stefan. Stefan's my buddy. I think you two will get on great. And then, years later, I'm like, oh, by the way, Stefan loved to drown dogs. I think it would change how you feel about Stefan. But anyway, this kangaroo got the dog. And it's like, oof, what a great day. I'm about to do what I do best. And then this guy walks up, and I didn't know, okay, because of how the video played out, I don't actually know or understand how big this man is. Because he walks up to the kangaroo, and the kangaroo is like, that's odd. Usually people see me do this and they run away. And he walks up, must be his dog, or maybe he just doesn't want to see murder that day. And admittedly, the first video that I saw was on silent, so I don't know if he yelled anything or not, but he definitely had the posture and the shoulders of somebody who might have been yelling, which I didn't know that kangaroos understood English, but yelling. And then kangaroo sort of bows up a little bit. And then you saw it. He punched that kangaroo in the face. Punched the kangaroo in the face, and the kangaroo went. This has never happened to me before. And I'm just saying, like, as a species that boxes, he should have covered. You know what I mean? Like, he should have seen it coming. From memory, it was just a straight left. He should have been able to dodge that. Oh, got all these animals. I got one. This is the other issue that y'all have. I don't know if you can do anything about this, but this is just me noticing, okay? Slight critique. A lot of the animals that you have here that are adorable and love to murder for fun are covered in fur that makes them that much more adorable. So you'll see like a wombat, and you'll think, friend? Hey, buddy. Hey, how are you? And then also, no one told you. You look at a koala. Once again, y'all just like let stuff slide. That should be the first thing you hear about this animal. You see a koala and you're like, wow, this is the white people panda. This is truly incredible. Look at this adorable animal. Look at it sleeping. Loves bamboo, I think. I don't know. I went to a outdoor, I don't know what you would even call it, because it wasn't like a national park or anything, but we went to this place that had koalas just chilling in the trees, and you could walk by and take a little picture of the koala and keep walking and everything. And I saw this koala turned and looked at me, and I was like, oh. It was like melting my heart, genuinely. I was like, oh. It was like meeting a dry penguin. It was like, oh, what's happening right now? Oh, I've seen it in books, and now it's here. And then as soon as it turned to me, it was like, why? It's the people of Australia. With all of your tourism efforts, and with all of the digital footprint of koalas, did you not warn anyone that animal is a person living under a spell cast by a witch? It's the only way to describe what I heard. But it's just normal. I'll tell you one thing. I used to live in Chicago, and I'll tell you about this night that I had. It's not the whole night. It's more just as in one instance where I used to do these open mics all over Chicago. I would go anywhere that there was an open mic. And I would do these like what they would call like mixed open mics as well, where it was like music, comedy, magic. You could do anything. And then I would go to the comedy open mics. And then every once in a while, if it was a storytelling open mic or maybe poetry, I'd ask, like, I would tell them, I would warn them that I was going to do comedy. I wouldn't just act like the whole thing was a poem. And then they would let me up, usually. Every once in a while, it'd be places like, no, we only do this thing, whatever. It's fine. But I remember going to this part of Chicago I had never been to before. And I was still new to the city, so I didn't know my way around or anything. And so I do the open mic. An open mic could last anywhere from an hour to like 4, depending on how many people wanted to go up and how many people were willing to stay and watch the people that were going up. And so I was over here in a part of Chicago I had never been in before, trying to find the train again, because I used my phone on Google Maps to find where the open mic was. But because I walked so long and then took a bus and then walked some more, I had no idea where the train was going to be to get me home. And it was already 1 a.m. And so I was beside myself because I was like, okay, I got to get up at 5. What have I done to myself? And so I'm looking for the train. I'm walking around and put it into Google Maps, and I'm confused because it's like, it says like this stop has maintenance. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go to the next one. And I'm walking. And as I'm walking, I see this guy that is across the street from me in this abandoned lot. And he's standing in front of a dog and he's going, "What do you want?" What do you want though? Like what is it? And I've just never seen someone yelling at a dog from a place of divorce. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't like, what do you want? Like when a baby's crying or something, you're at your wits' end. It was like, I'm done. What do you want? Like what will make you happy? And anyway, he's like, what do you want? What do you want? And then the dog, this has happened so fast, the dog just zooms towards him and bites his crotch, right? I guess that's what it wanted. And every man in here knows, every man that hopefully will never be in this situation knows, though, that there's no way to effectively defend once bitten. That's it. But it bit him, and so now he's like, ah! He grabs the dog's collar, and they're both just like wiggling around, right? It's a lot of this. And he's screaming, and maybe you're wondering if or when I helped, and I didn't. I didn't help because, look, the dog, hopefully that dog only got beef with him. But one thing we know about this dog is it bites crotches. Right now, I'm a street away. The only way I could be safer is if I was at home. Like, why would I get involved? But it was crazy to watch because he's like, oh, we're right? And then right as this dude turns like this, right? There's a car that drives up, jumps the curve a bit, and hits him from behind. Okay? It doesn't hit him that hard. It was already slowing down, but it hits him to where his legs go up. And the dog lets go, the dog runs off, and then a guy gets out of the car and looks exactly like the guy that got bit. Like, he gets out of the car, and I'm like, it's him. It's him not bit. It felt like a moment from a movie about time travel. Where maybe this is what went wrong in that man's life. Maybe he got bit and then he was never able to make it work with the love of his life because she was like, I love you, but you bit. Like, we gotta be friends. So then he went back in time, got a car that decent. It was like, I don't know, looked like Kia Sorrento or something like that. But then drives up and it's like, oh wait, I focused so much on the time travel that I didn't plan for this moment, what I would do, and I'm late too, because I was supposed to catch myself before I got bit, but now I'm being bit. Maybe the only thing to do, maybe the only thing that'll break that dog's grip is if I hit myself with that car. And so he hit himself from behind with the car, and then the dog let go, mission accomplished, I guess. Clearly what actually happened is that guy had a twin. That has to be it. But even then, even a twin, why would they hit you with the car? Maybe they're not close. I don't know. The entire reason I told you this, the whole reason I told you everything I told you is because in that moment, being across the street, seeing this thing happen, which took like 0.5 seconds. Like, I swear I saw him, what do you want? Ah, boom, right? Like, it all happened together. Maybe his brother was already coming to pick him up, and the dog, maybe he didn't know the dog. Maybe his brother was always gonna hit him with the car. I have no idea. The whole reason I'm telling you this is that being a spectator on the other side of the street from that thing must be what it's like to be an Australian watching America. Because just like me, it's not like y'all are coming over to help or anything. And also, just like me, you're like more confused than you clearly are concerned. For you, it's like a show. You're going home. This is entertaining. I'm the guy in the middle. What do you want? Ah, boom. That's your show. That's my life. That's what life is like. I don't know if you've been keeping up. Why would you? Why would you if you didn't have to? If you didn't have to. I know that you keep up because y'all know about the world and stuff. Y'all have like genuine interest in other countries and people and everything, but I just, wow. If we knew you were watching. Now, because I came here, I watched some of your news thinking, all right, look, nobody's perfect. Let's get some dirt on Australia. I watched plenty, and wow, this is. What are you doing over here? You know what I mean? Like some of the things that make it into the news, I'm like, this is an email. This is. Like every country has its problems, don't get me wrong. Like every country has its problems, its tragedies and everything. I'm not saying nothing happens or that there aren't issues. I'm just saying that most of what is put out there to stay in the know you gotta understand, it's almost like speaking a different language because I will read the news here and it'll be like, Kath doesn't like shopping. She hates going to the grocery. So she's already planned all her 2026 meals. Meanwhile, in the U.S., our local news, not a national story, local news will be man set on fire by man on fire. With hug. This is crazy. Yeah. No, this is very bad. In case you're not aware, our president, he is definitely now, as one could infer without any doubt, with complete certainty, in at least every other page of the Epstein files. Like it's so bad. This is very bad. I know it's hard for you to relate because over here, if someone was like in something that doesn't even rise to the level of the Epstein files, right? Like y'all kick people out for like missing a comma in a memo. Like it's, y'all like, this is unbecoming. Meanwhile, in the U.S., okay, so the Epstein files, in case you're not aware, there was a dude named Jeffrey Epstein who was... No, some people don't know. Some people... No, for real, especially here. Some people don't know. Some people, like, I know that as a country, y'all keep up with the goings-on of other countries and everything, but I'm telling some individual people here will not know. Kath doesn't know. There's no way that Kath knows about the Epstein files. I refuse to believe that we live in a world where Kath is up on all current events in the U.S., but just hates grocery shopping so much. She need all her time to plan all of her meals for 2026, a year that just started, a year that's barely unfolded. Okay, in case you're not aware, Jeffrey Epstein is a horrible person, criminal, the devil, basically the devil, and was leading, or at least the biggest part of this trafficking ring, this cabal of deviants that moved with sort of impunity. He had an island, a lot of bad, horrific things went down there, and he was also, without doubt, Jeffrey Epstein was also, without a doubt, one could not just infer, but pretty much say with real conviction that he was Donald Trump's best friend, like his best friend ever, like BFF, FFFFFFFFF, all the F's, BFF, forever and ever. Is very bad. It's bad, and so they've been fighting. And when I say they, I mean like the House Oversight Committee, I mean Democrats, I mean generally people in the public of the U.S. have been fighting to get the Epstein files released. In fact, ironically enough, Donald Trump ran on being someone who would release the Epstein files. Now, he did not say those things specifically. The people around him were talking about how he was going to be the most transparent president of all time, and he would release things like the Epstein files because there was a big push to get people energized around something that could be controlled, like a sort of narrative, and then that could get people out and voting, and then maybe they would just do away with it whenever the time called for it. But what they didn't account for is that people actually care if there are billionaires running around all over the world doing like a trafficking ring. And so, I know, who knew? And so even though part of his platform was being the type of person that would release everything, as soon as he's in office and they're actually talking about releasing it, everybody's like, uh-oh, that's basically his diary. Like, we can't just... And so Trump fights it for months. I mean, the House is like kind of closed over it for a while. They're actually reps that they won't swear in because they don't want to have the votes. I'm saying this, the Republicans don't want the actual votes to be had for the release of the files. Finally, that happens, though. Finally, they vote on a Transparency Act that would release the Epstein files, and it gets passed off from the House to the Senate, and then the president has to sign. So it gets passed to the Senate. The Senate actually, crazy enough, signed it so fast, I don't even know if it touched the desk. Like it just sort of floated in the room like a cartoon piece of paper, and then it landed on Trump's desk, and Trump gotta sign it. He has to sign it, because if he doesn't sign it, it sort of stops with him, and it makes him look super guilty. And he already looks very guilty. He already looks really guilty because, okay, I'll back up for a second. Remember what I said about like you eating McDonald's in the US and it not being food. It's like not food. You know what I mean? And then you eat it and then you're like, ooh, I feel terrible. I feel like somebody fought me in me. Like it's crazy. And then you have to go to the bathroom and then your whole body is like, we're never doing this again. But then you do, because it's addictive. And I know that like McDonald's here is not the same as McDonald's in the US. I know that because admittedly I've had some, and it doesn't do that to you. Like you actually, I bit the food like it was gonna do it. I was like, but then I heard, and I know it's a rumor. I know it's a rumor. There's nothing that confirms it. But I got nervous because I ate McDonald's here. And I heard about Scott Morrison, right? And I was like, oh no, maybe it's not different. Maybe, because that's exactly what happens in the US. But anyway, Trump was over here trying to stop the Epstein files from, coming out through word of mouth, through hitting up people in private conversations and everything. And then it finally lands on his desk. He's got to sign it, because he's done a very bad job of looking like he has nothing to do with it, mainly because he's basically been screaming over and over, I don't have anything to do with it. Like, that's not... It makes you seem very guilty. So he signs it. So then the Department of Justice, which if you visit the US and you are talking about the Department of Justice, you are allowed to go, Department of Justice? Like you can, because we aren't even sure. So then the Department of Justice had 30 days to release the Epstein files, which is crazy. Like, this is crazy. This thing that we thought would never see the light of day is supposed to come out by law, by the law that the president signed in 30 days. And so then they waited until last day. And they said they released it early, but by 10 minutes of the deadline at midnight. But they release it, and the head of the Department of Justice comes out and it's like, there's actually so many files that we can't even release them all today, which is against the law, because the law was for all of them. But we can't even release them today. We're going to release some today and some tomorrow and then some in the spring. They really tried to release the Epstein files like a season of Stranger Things. It was insane. And then, never mind the fact that as they're trying to redact all this stuff, which is what was happening, the holdup was that they were trying to redact anything with Trump's name in it, or maybe people in the party that would look bad for them. They're still in office and everything, so they're doing all this redacting. So when they finally release the files, a lot of it is redacted to the degree which is just ridiculous. It'll be like a picture on a page and the whole page is black, but the whole thing was transparency. You have to tell us what's in there, and you have what's in there. But then they did a bad job of redacting. They did such a bad job of redacting that some of the stuff with Trump's name on it got through. And then they tried to redact it the next day, but that's not how redacting works. We know now. You showed us. In fact, they did such a bad job redacting, because this is what happened. as well. There were so many files that they actually begged people to work overtime for like a month and a half leading up to what was supposed to be the release. So that way they could redact enough and make sure they were all squared away. So when they released it, they released everything. But that didn't happen because there weren't enough hours in each day leading up to the release. I need to be clear about something. There were not enough hours for the entire team of people that they had redacting. Do you know how bad things must be if there are not enough hours in a month for a team of people to blacken out enough things to exonerate the president? Anyway, they finally released it, and they did such a bad job of redacting that some of the files were redacted in like Word. And so they basically copy and paste to a Word document, highlighted it in black, and then put it back for the... So if you were to copy and paste some of the Epstein files into Word and unhighlight it, you could read what the Department of Justice was trying to redact. Which is so wholly embarrassing as a country. And it's all because Trump has done such a bad job of trying to cover up that he's not in the Epstein files. Scott Morrison did a better job. Imagine if Scott Morrison was over here. I was never at McDonald's. You'd be like, oh, it definitely happened then. That's... Why is he screaming? Yes, it happened. It's so embarrassing because it's to redact stuff we know. That was his best friend. It would be like trying to redact any relationship between peanut butter and jelly. I know y'all. I know y'all don't roll with peanut butter and jelly like that. I know that. I know y'all like, that's not food. But like, it... But to us it is. I mean, you know what I'm scared of? I'm actually terrified for you if y'all started eating peanut butter and jelly because it would be real peanuts. It'd be jelly from like a fruit. And I don't know if any one man is ready for all that power. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is bad. It's about as bad as getting bit in the crotch. And then hit by a car. And a whole country of people just watching. Because I will say that there are people, I know there's like murmurings and there's attempts and there's the schools of thought here that would like to bring more of what America does. I'm just telling you what I've heard and what I've seen, and I'm just saying, as someone who lives there, don't. I am begging you, don't do it. All right, because look, I understand. Every country is going to have its problems, and every place is going to have things that feel like they can be solved by taking a piece of what another place is doing. But in those moments, you really got to look at the bigger picture. What is life like for people here? What is life like for people in the U.S., you know? Once again, you take it for granted. You eat food. You eat food, and there's a general belief system that seems to, from the people that I've talked to of differing opinions, both Aussies in the U.S. and Australian citizens here, there is this general attitude, general mindset of the things that a government, a country owes its people. And those things are, I think they're a big part of why this is a great place to live. And I think that tossing them to the side for a little bit more of what America has, which is, I will say, a game. America has a game. You can play this game, and you can walk away with nothing, or you can walk away with millions. Spoiler alert, you won't walk away with millions. But the belief that you might walk away with millions allows you to give up things consistently. Give up your privacy, give up your data, give up your rights, give up the things that are owed to you by your country, by your government, as a taxpayer and as a citizen. And that's something I would never want to see happen here. There are beautiful things in the U.S. I'm not just trashing the U.S. all over the world. I'm just being very honest about it. But I just see people who have a genuine belief in what seems like an understanding of what it takes to take care of their neighbor. And when you take care of your neighbor, then eventually you are taking care of your country. You know, I understand there are things that I can't understand about living here. I'm not acting like I know the ins and outs of liberal versus labor or anything. I just know that when it comes to a quality of life, value for money, and being valued by your country as a citizen, there are a lot of things that you are doing right. I understand that you strive for more, and you should. You should keep fighting for the best possible world to live in, the best country to live in, nonstop, all the time. It doesn't mean that you can just pat yourself on the back and quit. It just means that what you're doing is working, whether you know it or not. Traveling opens your eyes to how people are living in different parts of the world. And I'm telling you, as someone who has started traveling and doesn't want to stop, I'm seeing all the ins and outs of places, and yes, what they may be lacking, but what they're really doing right. And I'm telling you, when I meet people, when I talk to people, for all of its problems, and for all of the things that I hope get better about living here, with living here, you're doing a lot right. A whole lot. And you can tell that you're doing a whole lot right because Kath is in the news. Melvin, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Like, I've been traveling a lot, and in traveling, it's hard when you're an adult to look at things that you experienced when you were a kid and not recontextualize them when you get more information. When you're a little kid, the world is face value. Everything that's happening is happening because I guess it's supposed to, or because that's what people do, or everything's very simple when you're a little kid, and then you get older and you see different things, and you look back, you know, and you're like, wow, that's what was going on when I thought things were just normal, you know? And I've been experiencing that a lot with around America with the dollar stores. There are three types of dollar stores. There is Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, and Dollar General. Now, an honorable mention does go out to the 99-cent store. The 99-cent store I want to discuss first, because the 99-cent store is completely unhinged. First of all, they don't have inventory at the 99-cent store. They have what they have, and you either found it or you didn't. You know that you found it or you didn't because what they showcase outside the 99-cent store doesn't make any sense at all. It's just up to the discretion of that, like, franchise owner. The 99-cent store, the store will be here, right? And then they'll just put 2 shower curtains and then 16 potted plants out front.
What is this place? Then you walk in and it's like, it's like if somebody truly made a business out of garage. Because when you walk in, nothing has like a designated spot or anything. There are things hanging on hooks I didn't even remember had hooks. I forgot that each broom I've owned had like a little hook to it. But then when you walk into the 99-cent store, almost like a beaded curtain, you walk through brooms hitting you in your face. The 99-cent store that I went to was so big. It was way too big. It was a warehouse of trash. It was like a hoarder died and then they tried to sell everything. Because the 99-cent store I went to had a stick man. It had a man who would get to the tallest stuff at the top. And this was the worst stick man in stick man history. Like, admittedly, some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, and this is a black thing. Like, this is mainly where we shop. There is a stick man. But, like, the stick man was not good at all, because you're used to a stick man getting up there and unhooking something with precision, bringing it down. You know, he might even drop the stick a little bit, catching his hand, hand it to you, right? This stick man was over here. I can't tell if he was nearsighted or farsighted, but he could not see what he was sticking. This man was over here battling. You'd be like, can I get the one up there? He's like, yeah, I got you right now. I got you right now, young blood. Then it falls on the ground. He pick it up, dust it off. No, our stick man was trash, and he had. Okay, look. I need glasses. All right. I'm not better than anybody. I'm not judging. Everybody got their own prescription and that's their cross to bear, all right? But he had the most specific eyes I have ever seen in my entire life. This man had one Coke bottle and one that was very thin. Like it seemed like he just needed a monocle, but he was like, nah, I don't trust myself to hold it on my cheek like that. Go ahead and give me glasses and just make one glass transparent glass. Because he clearly only had one bad eye. Like his eye, like this eye had to be good. Because when you would look at him, one eye looked like he was doing this to you. Right? Like one eye looked super big and the other eye looked regular. But then when you saw him, when he would turn, you could see both of his eyes were regular size eyes. So that was just the glass. And so he had one like Coke, but thick, bulletproof glass on this side. And then one that was very, very thin, right? And he would knock stuff over and go pick it up and everything. And he worked at the 99-cent store since maybe before time. This man had been there a very long time. He might still be there now. I don't know. But everything that's there is not like quality. You know what I mean? It's literally 99 cents in today's economy. This stuff isn't even just made in China. This is up off the floor in China. This is the stuff that they throw away in China that they were like, you want this? All right. If you sure. This is how you can tell these are the worst products ever made in the history of humanity. They are so toxic that whatever you touch, whatever color it is, that's the color you are when you get done touching it. If you touch a green broom, you will pull back a Shrek hand, all right? I had a green broom and a blue dustpan because they were sold separately, you know? Goodness forbid you package them together and they're $1.19. You know what I mean? They were like, we can't have that. We'll have each for 99 cents. And then I bought the green broom and the blue dustpan, and one hand was Martian Manhunter and the other hand was Smurf. I couldn't get my hands back to normal for days. I don't know what they painted that with. Spray paint comes out easier. 99-cent store is trash. And then you get to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree made the guarantee a long time ago that everything would be $1, and they were the first to break that promise. You want a lesson in life not being fair? You go as a child to the Dollar Tree and buy one of their very illegal, individually packaged Capri Suns. Capri Sun they don't sell them like this. You're not supposed to do this. That's how I knew I was broke sometimes. Like you a kid going into the Dollar Tree for a Lucy Capri Sun. It was terrible, but like, and they don't put them on the shelf. You gotta know if you know, and so you go up there. You like, all right. Feel like I'm buying weed or something. I'm over here. Come on, sip. Come on. You miming it. You. One time I bought a loose Capri Sun, and the man up in Dollar Tree tried to charge me for the straw. I was like, you are the devil. You are. Ooh, I rebuke you. That's crazy. You gonna sell. That's how I can tell you a demon. You gonna sell me the straw separately. What am I supposed to do with this? Suck it with a safety pin? This is crazy. That's insane. This man over here sliding the Capri Sun to me, and I'm looking at him. What's wrong, man? Come on. It's like, that's extra, young blood. I'm like, hey, what? From a young age, I could identify with people who rob stores because that was very aggravating. Dollar Tree was over here just, letting themselves run out of inventory. I would go in the Dollar Tree and there'd just be whole spaces, whole sections empty. At least the 99-cent store is packed. Packed to the brim with stuff that doesn't even make sense. The 99-cent store would have one of something, proudly. They'd have one of something and the price tag. There was one time I went to a 99-cent store, I saw one bra. That's crazy. I'm like, that's lost and found, if anything. Y'all don't have a single other bra in here. And you gotta hang the bra next to the snacks. You know you shouldn't be selling this bra. Because Dollar Tree would let themselves run out of like everything, and then you walk in, it's just bare shelves and stuff. At least the 99-cent store would try to make sense of things. 99-cent store doesn't make any real sense at all, and you can tell because sometimes they'll sell stuff that should be sold for a totally different purpose. I've been very confused in a 99-cent store before. One time, I was in a 99-cent store, and on the shelf, it said 99 cents. So far, everything's checking out. It said 99 cents, and then it said hat. It was a hat for 99 cents, right? But then on the shelf, clearly, is a bucket. That's a bucket. It's a bucket, though. Like it is, like I'm not crazy. That's a bucket. You can make it a hat if you want, if you believe, but that's a bucket. All you gotta do is flip this over on its bottom and put bucket, and we don't have any problems. But hat is crazy. And then when I'm checking out, I bought a broom, I bought a dustpan, and then he's like, and one hat? And I was like, you don't believe that though. There's no way you believe that. Because it's not a hat, it's a bucket. And I want to be clear, it's not even a bucket hat. It is a bucket. A bucket. So then you have Dollar Tree, then you have Family Dollar. Family Dollar, I've talked about this before. Family Dollar really helped me pinpoint on the map of life where I was. There's a quote, I'm gonna get it wrong, but there's a quote by, I think it was Nikola Tesla, that said that man's grasp, the reach, it's man's grasp, what is it?
Man's grasp exceeds his reach.
Man's grasp exceeds his reach. And I think, it's man's grasp.
Reach exceeds his grasp.
Man's reach exceeds his grasp. I was like never gonna correct you because I didn't know either. But like, as soon as you said something, it did sound. Yeah. I didn't know either. So man's reach exceeds his grasp, and I think that Family Dollar's inventory exceeds its means, because every year of my life, Family Dollar has been trying harder and harder to be a grocery store. Every time I go up in Family Dollar, they add one more item that they should not have at Family Dollar. I remember the day I went in Family Dollar and saw milk, and I was like, no, we not built for this. A lot of people are gonna get sick, okay? I'm a kid, but I'm still trying to tell adults how to run their business. I was like, y'all don't even have the fridge space for this milk. Come on now. And Family Dollar has always helped me keep track, truly, being honest with myself of where I am on this map of life, right? Because at first, I walked in Family Dollar, I saw milk, and I was like, y'all, don't do this. And 2 years later, I was like, let me go ahead and get the milk. 3%, you say? I've never heard of 3% before. That is interesting. I've never had 3% in my life. Maybe I'll get stronger bones. Who knows? So you got Dollar Tree, you got Family Dollar, and then you have Dollar General. Dollar General is the stuff of nightmares. Dollar General is straight out of a horror movie. And I don't say that because of the experiences I've had at Dollar General. I say that because of where they put Dollar Generals. Dollar General will be the last thing you see before you die. And not in a curse sort of way, not in like the Ring sort of way. Dollar General will be put in the middle of a field. Whether you are in the South or the Midwest, the only places Dollar General truly exists and thrives is the middle of nowhere in the South, the middle of nowhere in the Midwest, and the Sahara. I don't know. By the time you see a Dollar General, you're like, is this a mirage? Because I've seen nothing but fields for 30 minutes and then one Dollar General. With a man working there from the 1800s, who knows? Those Dollar General, people that work at Dollar General get bold with you when they're out. When you out in like their area, you at this Dollar General in like Ball, Louisiana. You walk in, it's like, not from around here, huh? It's like, you even talking like the movie. Who says that to a customer? Not even where you from. Not from around here, are you? Oh. Now you can tell a Dollar General is terrifying. Because out of a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, I'm just talking about my experiences growing up, you know. Out of a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, a Dollar General is the least likely to be robbed, all right? I've seen Dollar Generals, you know, be on the news, not for being robbed, for the attempt. Do you know the horror that has to go down for the attempt of a robbery to make the actual news? Nothing got stolen, but everything that happened was still so bad that it made the news. There was a dude who was on the news. I'm pretty sure it was Dollar General. And this dude made the news because they ran up in the Dollar General trying to rob it, which also not a great plan. Dollar General doesn't exactly have a lot of sales going on. And so for all the sales they do have going on, let's just say no Dollar General I've heard of needs a safe, all right? And so to run up at a Dollar General to rob it, you already expecting to run out with like $26, okay? But this man ran up at a Dollar General trying to rob it, right? And not only did they take his gun, they beat him with his gun. And then the getaway driver called the police on them. I'm just curious how that went. Because when you run up in a place to rob it, you at least have what one would hope is the element of surprise. You would hope a place doesn't get robbed so often that they are ready like Neo from the Matrix to snatch the gun out of your hand as soon as you walk in. I'm sure people going in to rob a place have like a rob and walk or like a gun-toting bravado maybe. But imagine being robbed so often that you're like, no, when they come back. Because this is the thing that blows my mind, is that we're in the South, and this dude ran up in a Dollar General to rob it, and they didn't shoot him. The South loves guns. We love guns. And we, like a fever dream, wish we could shoot someone. And then here is someone running in with a gun to do evil. Someone that the law would say, shoot. And the employees at the Dollar General were like, actually, I really prefer hands. Imagine how crazy you have to be, how bad of a week you must be having for somebody to run up in there with a gun out to rob you, and you go, this is exactly what I needed. You know what? Let me tell you something about the Lord, all right? The Lord won't put more on you than you can bear, okay? And the Lord knew people had been trying me all week. People I wasn't allowed to hit. People that I could never put my hands on. And so then the Lord sent you to me at work, the place I hate most, to go ahead and take out a week's worth of frustration on you with the butt of this sawed-off shotgun. Imagine you run into a Dollar General to rob it, gun already out. Hey, everybody freeze, whatever he said. And then the employees turn and he's like, open the register. And they're just smiling. You don't know what happens next. Maybe a blackout. Maybe you watch them take the gun out of your hands because you weren't expecting that. And then you see the butt of the gun coming back real slow. I'm sure the next part is a blur. I'm sure all you really know is you hear yourself getting whooped. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. You forget, was this my gun the whole time? It's not acting like my gun. You wake up. The police are standing over you, and you haven't been arrested. Because all the damage was done to you. Oh, Dollar General is insane. It's crazy, too, because every once in a while, Dollar General will buy a store that used to be a nice store. Like, it used to be like a dope store. Like, truly, it used to be like crazy. Like, I remember there was a place I went with my grandma, and I don't even remember the name. That's how like little I was, where it was just a memory of being with her holding my hand, and us walking into this place. And you know how when your little things are bigger? So I'm sure if I went there now, it would look like the size of a regular department store. But she took me to this place, and it was huge. In my head, it was so big, right? And she bought some socks, she bought some other stuff and everything, and then we left. And I remember when I would ride with her, because, you know, I would go with my grandma during the summers or after school. My mom would drop me off at my grandma's because she would still be working and stuff. And so when I'd run errands with my grandma, we'd pass that place over and over. I'd always want to go back inside because I had such a fun memory of like, there were so many toys. It's just huge, right? And it had closed. And so my grandma would remind me every time that it had closed, right? And then eventually it became like a dollar store, like a chain dollar store. And I remember it being like, man, that place was cool. And now they sell 3% milk. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I told my friends a story a long time ago about how my friend met this woman online, right? And this was back when meeting people online was still like not quite done. It was still new to do that. And the woman that he met wanted to meet up one night, which is exciting because this is why you do it. And she said she wanted to meet up, and he was like, where do you want to meet? And she was like, oh, behind the library. Which should have been a clue. Said she wanted to meet behind the library, and he was like, oh, okay. Which library? Because so she told him which branch. And then they met up, and it just took him too long to realize he was being robbed. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... Like, even when he showed up and it was two dudes, he was like, but where's Sarah? It's like, You need to wake up, dude. Sarah's a fiction. And that's the way that I feel about Trump federalizing DC. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I was watching it this morning and watching them talk about it, and it was an interesting speech because you would have thought he would have stayed on crime the whole time, but he definitely diverted a few times. Like there was one point where I really don't like. I'm not even joking right now. I genuinely don't understand what he was trying to say. Because there was one point where he was talking about how, like, trans people fight or something. And it just started to feel like the kind of conversation you have with someone who is 2,000 years old. Like, it just... It was weird. It was like because it came out of nowhere. It wasn't like part of the thing. And then people, are obviously like worried, terrified, confused and everything. Because there are people who are like, he can't do that. That's not legal. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, what are you, a Democrat? Like, this is the goofiest. That's illegal. It's like, all right. That's what my buddy said when he was getting robbed, too. He was like, well, this is illegal. Stop. Out of your mind. Hey, that's illegal. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. That's a question that Democrats constituents ask. That's a question that Trump is asking. That's a question on everybody's mind right now. If you oppose what he's doing, what are you gonna do about it? You know? And I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I know what to do at all because I genuinely don't. I mean, I know that people protested today off of the announcement, off the fact that, like, just imagine you live in D.C. and Trump says he's gonna, like, deploy the National Guard. And you just, like, not only is crime at this, like, 25, 30-year low, but, like, you just got to the point where you were probably starting to feel kind of safe on the street, and now it's gonna be the National Guard looking at you every day, confused why they're there too. You know? People forget that the armed forces, like obviously, soldiers are supposed to follow orders and everything like that, but the armed forces are filled with people of differing backgrounds and opinions and everything. So it's not as if everybody that ever gets deployed is excited to be deployed. And it's not as if they're always well taken care of when they are deployed. These people, they signed up to do a service for the country. I'm curious how they feel about being deployed against the people that they're supposed to protect instead of against, like, some foreign invader or something. I'm not gonna act like I know. I've never served or anything, but I've talked to people in the service, and they come from all different types of backgrounds. They vote in all different types of ways, and I'm sure that
if you're walking down the streets of DC feeling disheartened, feeling like you're being occupied, there's probably somebody standing there as you walk into work that's like, yeah. I don't know, because it's been on my mind all day and trying to figure out how to not just like talk about it, but say something more than just like, I think that might be bad. Like, I think that we're having a moment a lot like my friend had, where it's like you just have to be very aware of what's happening, because to not be aware doesn't mean the thing will go away, you know? Like, we don't want to be behind a library going, "Where's Sarah?" for our entire democracy. Because that's, yeah. I think that's the thing that I find so, like, aggravating about it, is that he is a person that tells you what he's going to do, and then he does it. And then there are people who supposedly like him that are positive he's not going to do the thing they said he was going to do. They're like, no, he won't do that though. And it's like, then why would he say it? He trolling. Like, he's just like, all right, but what if he's not? No, he wouldn't do the thing he said he'd do. Who does that? You know? Because I'm not going to act like I know what to do. And I think it's more important for everyone should know who, on every level, their representatives are, and what they do for you, and what they're doing for you right now. And it's easier to hold those people to account when you know who they are. You know what I mean? Like your state senator, or everything down to, like, you know, alderman. Everything. Because it's the fact that these people go unnoticed, the fact that we expect whoever, business people, celebrities, whatever it is, to pick up the slack of the people that were elected to do those jobs, all right? Like, we're in a position now as a country that's very scary, because we look to companies to do some of the work that local government should be able to do. And now we've stripped resources from local government to the point where you do need who knows, Amazon to come in and bring in jobs, because how are we going to get jobs now? Or you need on a state level companies that you give everything to, and they give you very little for the resource that you're missing, you know? And so now we're at a point where some of our infrastructure is completely buckled without us really realizing it. You know, there's been such an influx of money into the economy because of AI and because of the gamble and the race to be number one in AI that all these companies are making. There's been such a rush to build and fill these data centers that money is flowing in a way that, you know, the effect of the tariffs isn't fully being felt. The economy and the like 5 top businesses in the S&P 500 are now carrying most of the weight of the S&P 500. Like, we're at a point that's close to tipping, and it's very important for the people to be held accountable. They're actually accountable. You know, it gets very easy to divert and get mad at this person, or notice that this person said something, whatever it is. It's the actual people who vote on these things, who have the power to say yes or no to large companies,
knowing that you know where they are and what they do that holds them to account. As long as you are distracted or you're blaming whatever, the person to blame when it's too late, then things are going to stay the same. You know, representatives, to me, work a lot like when you're out with your friends. And let's say you're like young too. Maybe you're like 21, out at a bar or a club for the first time. You don't have any experience with this stuff. You're just the 4 or 5 of you guys all together, buddies in college, going out to like a bar or a club for the first time. You don't really know. You don't have any swag yet. You don't have a ton of confidence. All you know is you see 4 or 5 beautiful ladies across the room. And so you think to yourselves, oh, well, what should we do? One of us should say hello. We should say hello, you know, and then maybe they'll want to come over here, or maybe we can go over there. But it should just be one. If it's all 5 of us, that's just, ooh. You have enough wherewithal to know that all 5 of you approaching at the same time maybe isn't the move. 5 horny men approaching all together, ooh, doesn't come off well. You know what I mean? If all 5 of you are it's not going to go fantastic. You know that. So you decide, I'm going to we'll send a representative. One of us, the best of us, to make us look good. We'll send them over there. He'll charm everybody, and then we'll walk over and reap the benefits of his hard work. Or maybe he'll be so charming that he'll invite them over to our table, and then we can order drinks for us and them. But we'll know that we sent him, he did a good job, and then he'll come back to us. And so your friends, they start campaigning. They start campaigning with promises, you know? No, I can go over there. I can do it. It's like, no, listen, Daryl, you blink too much, all right? You blink way too much, all right? You gonna run up in there, they gonna think it's a bomb under them or something. You blinking too much. You blinking now. Stop blinking so much. We can't send you over there. You look nervous right now. And so then the group nominates Mark. Mark has at least had a girlfriend. He knows how to talk to women. He's had a girlfriend, he has sisters, and a mom. He knows what to do. Let's get Mark over there. So Mark, elected by the group, goes over there, you know. And even before he walks over, he says something that Mark would say. You know, he stands up and he's like, hey guys, thank you so much. All right, your faith in me means a lot. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna do my best for us, for all of us, okay? I appreciate you all so much. And look, I'm gonna do my darndest. Who knows what the result will be, but your faith in me means the world. No matter what, we're gonna have a great night tonight, okay? See y'all in a second. And then he goes over, he makes his approach. And because Mark is engaging, he's sweet, and he's interesting, he's easy to talk to, and because he's extroverted and he's outgoing, he knows how to approach without creeping or intimidating. And so quickly, you see these 5 ladies having what looks like a really good conversation with Mark. Things are looking up. This is incredible. The body language is phenomenal. Mark is over here working the room. And then Mark makes that motion and he points at y'all. Y'all weren't ready. You didn't know. Everyone was about to look over here. And so Mark points over at you and you're like, Mark turns around and keeps chatting. And after a while, things start to slow down. You don't really know why, but some nods and still a couple of laughs. And then Mark, he doesn't beckon you over. He doesn't give the thumbs up like they're about to head back with him. And he comes back. He sits down. And your dumbest friend is like, how'd it go? And Mark says, well, fellas, they all have husbands. But Mark did his best. And that's not actually his fault. He tried, right? You can send a representative. They can promise to do something, and maybe the thing is bigger than the promise that they made. That is possible. That they tried as hard as somebody could try. And they didn't deliver because the circumstances weren't there. But let's talk about a different scenario, a more common scenario. Maybe Mark was sick. He wasn't even there. He's at home. Your buddy Chet is campaigning. And Chet campaigns on some pretty jarring promises. He's like, look, I'm going to go over there, all right? I'm going to be like, what's up? Be like, hey, ladies. You know, that'll get their attention real quick because I'm gonna pop up right in. I'm not even gonna just like stroll up. I'm gonna walk up and then I'm gonna clear those last two steps real fast, really get in their face. Bow, right? Like that. What's up, lady? And I'm just gonna tell them what it is. I'm like, you could have a boring night, or you could have a night with us. And look, Chet is the loudest. He's the loudest. He's the most adamant with the supposedly strongest campaign. And so you elect him. He unfortunately becomes your representative. And you see him off, and he doesn't give a speech like Mark did. He gives a speech like, all right. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be smelling like perfume, all right? And then he walks over, and you see him walk over, and his approach is startling. Because he can't just walk over. He's doing like He's doing a walk that's like kind of Denzel, but if Denzel was severely hurt. You know, Denzel has that swag to his walk. Chet is over here. And then he does what he said he was gonna do. He walks up, and you can't really hear him, but you can see the body language. You don't hear him give his little speech, but you can tell when he gives it because everybody slapped him. And then he walks back over. He sits down. And your dumbest friend goes, "How'd it go?" And he's like, "Man, let's get out of here. Everybody's stuck up in here." Well, and it does feel like that's where we are. Yeah, I mean, we're in a pretty bad situation. There's way more Chets than there are Marks. You know, because I used to look around, especially when I first started touring, even when I was in some of the worst, motels, hotels, like some of the worst, like. But I did. The first time I ever got a chance to travel this country at all and meet new people who were from new places that I had never been to before. Not only did I have a good time because I was having these new experiences, but I really felt like I was seeing something really, really beautiful. Everybody wasn't happy and everybody didn't get along. I'm not like pining for a time that didn't exist. I'm just saying that like really getting out for the first time in my life all those years ago felt a lot like walking through that department store with my grandma. It was really special. I look back on it fondly, and I am genuinely afraid that we've gone from that to a dollar store that sells 3% milk.
Did y'all? Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it. I guess what I thought would happen happened, but that whole Epstein list came out. I know, right? And it was pretty underwhelming. Like they were like dropping the list January 2nd, and then January 2nd came, and they were like, "Sorry, January 3rd," and then they dropped the list, and everyone was like just mouth-watering on Twitter, everywhere. Everybody was like, "Jesus, list, it's gonna shake up the world. And everything's gonna change after this list comes out." And then the list came out, and a couple people we thought were on it. And then when I saw the rest of the list, I was like, "Oh, that's right. I don't know any rich people. That's my bad. I don't really move in the circles for this to be a scandal." Because any name on the list that wasn't already a celebrity, I have no idea who that is. It could be the head of a bank. I don't know. Whoops. It's very interesting. It is also, I guess, a bit weird because if you on that list, if your name just came out, it's kind of weird because you really can't die now. Like, you really got to hold it together for quite a while. Or else if you die, they're going to be like, "He was a bigger part of it." It's like, oh, jeez. No, it's a weird list. It's a weird gathering of people. You know what I mean? And not everybody went to the island. I'm not taking up for anybody because, once again, I don't know them. But some of them, a part of me feels a little bit bad for because they took a trip when the jet was going in the other direction. You know what I mean? Like, the jet goes to the island, but then the jet might have go from New York to Philadelphia real quick, and then David Copperfield's like, "I ain't got shit to do with this. What the fuck?" Motherfuckers asked me to come over and do some tricks. And then they dropped me off in Indianapolis. I had a show. No. It is weird though. I think the thing that scares me most about the list and our response to it was that we thought the list would have everyone that we know on it. But what were we gonna do about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, think about that really. Like, we thought all of these, like, celebrities would be on the list. It's like, all right, what were we gonna... Like, was the plan to... Like, I don't know, unless we were gonna kill him, what does it really matter? Do you know what I mean? We're just gonna be like, oh, you... You know what I mean? Really think about it. It's like if you know, whoever. Let's say Aaron Rodgers was on the list. We're gonna not let him play? I don't know. It just feels like we didn't really have a plan there. We just wanted to see it, kind of like the burn book for Mean Girls. And then we were gonna just go about our day. Because it says a lot that we expected powerful people to be on the list. It kind of shows that we have no faith in them to begin with, right? So then, we might as well just treat them like they were on the list and get rid of them. Like, it just feels like, but Jeremy, I don't know why we needed a little bit more evidence that Lindsey Graham was shitty or something. I mean, like, I'm trying to be like a more like chill person. I think I get carried away sometimes. Like, I'll overthink things, and it gets me into this. I don't want to be a combative person, and I'm not combative outwardly, but in my head, I'll be like, "What does that mean?" Or I will overanalyze the situation to a point where I'm having a bad time. Right? Like, it can't even be called a restaurant. I went to a fast food, like, chicken spot, and I ordered, and they gave me my food. And I truly cannot remember if I asked for napkins or not. But the cashier, he gave me too many napkins. All right? He gave me a concerning, offensive amount of napkins. He gave me so many he gave me napkins, it was making a statement in my head as he was going, because he put, okay, one napkin is not enough. If you get a meal and they give you one napkin, they're like, fend for yourself, right? 2 napkins might be enough. Maybe you're going to wipe your hands, or you're going to wipe something down, whatever. 3 napkins is a perfect amount. 4 or 5 starts to be excessive. He gave me a clutch of napkin. He gave me what I can only describe as an unhoused amount of napkins. He gave me napkins like it was gonna be my blanket and my pillow tonight. He gave me, because he used the full width of his big ass hand to grab all these napkins and stuff them in the bag. There were so many napkins in the bag that if the bag had flipped, my food would have been safe, right? It was such a deeply offensive amount of napkin, because it just felt like he was saying, you can't take care of yourself. Like, he's like, yeah, it felt like he was saying, you gonna spill a lot. I can tell just by how you're standing that you spill. And I was talking to a friend about it. My friend was like, well, maybe, just maybe he recognized you and he was trying to give you the hookup. And I was like, okay, even if I'm trying to extend enough grace to not be offended and to think that my man likes my comedy, and so he's like, look, I don't have much, but what I got is these napkins. All right, so if you need anything, napkin-wise, I got you, all right? Napkin-wise, I stay ready, okay? I was like, nah, because he didn't, this is how I know he wasn't like a fan or something. He looked me dead in my eyes when he gave me all those napkins and he didn't smile. That was the most offensive. It's probably one of the most. It was a full middle finger using all his fingers. It was the way that he was like, all right. Deeply distressed. Okay, did y'all, by any chance, see the dude who jumped the judge? Okay, this is so great. Okay, look, if you have not seen it, if you haven't seen it, it's very quick. If you have not seen it, I'll try my best to bring you up to. Okay, so basically, I didn't know everything was happening. I had to read about it after I saw it. But in the video, you see a judge and what I think is a stenographer. And I knew something bad was going to happen because when the video starts, the stenographer in the corner already got his mouth open, right? And so the stenographer is looking ahead and going, and that is because I don't know how big this man is, but there is a man already in the air flying towards the judge, okay? Now, I don't know because of the angle, I don't know if he got a running start and started flying, or if he just flew from the defendant's stand. Like, because you know that table they got the defendants at, right? From the angle, it just looks like he jumped from there over, and then no judge's bench is eye level, all right, ever, okay? Which means he didn't just jump across and clear that space. He went up, and it is so sad that our first black superhero is this guy. That's then you okay. So then he jumps over, he full Soldier Boy over the judge's bench, lands on her. Now, I knew he was going to get her when I saw him in the air because she was getting out of the way too slow. Because I think even I think in her mind, even she was like, he going to bust his head on this bench trying to jump up here to get me, because she was kind of cold with it, where she wasn't freaked out even though he was flying there, which makes me feel like this must have happened before. And most people don't make it. Like, most people don't clear it and then they bang their head on the bench, you know what I mean? Because for the bailiff the bailiff is nowhere to be found. He clearly jumped over the bailiff, right? Because the bailiff was probably like the stenographer was over here like, God dang. And so then he jumps up and lands on her. She goes down. They're both like under the bench for a second. Then the bailiff gets over there, and then I guess the stenographer, I don't know what this person's position was, but he was in a suit and he seemed very scared. They both start trying to fight this dude. So now this dude is whooping everybody's ass. Like, it's actually quite like, in my mind I was like, is he on drugs right now? Because how do you fight from the ground 3 people as you get up? You don't even see that in the UFC, right? And you'll never believe, okay, so she was denying his probation and she was about to sentence him, which is when he jumped over the bench and attacked her, right? And she was sentencing him. His case was battery with severe bodily harm. He did battery at the battery case. And I don't know what the other situation was. I have no idea. But she was about to sentence him. And I don't know how much time he was about to get. But it sounded like she was about to be like, I'm going to have to give you 8 years. And then this man was like, I'd like life, please. I'm sort of done with this outside world. Let me go ahead and stay forever. It's genuinely insane. I think that's the first person we've ever seen as a collective society that is going to get 10 million years. So, like, that's absolutely astounding. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I'm interested in what's going to happen next. I don't know if they'll let cameras in for it, but the judge said, "This is, I don't, okay, just this." The judge was like, "I want to see him on Monday. This Monday." She's like, "I want to see him on Monday by any means necessary." She used a full Malcolm X line. Because she was like, "I didn't get to finish my sentence."
Do y'all already know about Kristi Noem? Like, is this... Okay, if you don't know, she's a politician for now. She's in South Dakota, and she has blown up. I mean, I'm technically late to the story. Like, she blew up on the news and every platform because everyone thought that she was like the front runner to be Trump's VP pick, and she released a book, you know, to just capitalize on that possibility. Was releasing a book around now, and in the book she tells a story about shooting her puppy. I know. And when I first heard about it, because I heard about it before I read about it. When I first heard about it, I was like, nobody's that dumb to just volunteer a story about them doing the one thing that'll bum everybody out across America, no matter what. Yeah, I mean, like, and she's telling the story, and she relays the story like a war story or something. And basically, she shot the dog, and then after she shot the dog, she was walking back to her house. I guess very proud of herself. And then she saw her goat, and she was like, "I might as well, you know, because I got more than one bullet in the." And then she kills her goat, and then she told everyone. And I feel like there's a whole thing of politicians being out of touch, right? Like, you know, like sometimes you'll hear about a politician saying something, doing something, you know. Like a good example is like the way that people were during the pandemic, how they would just be like, "Oh, well, now's the time to dip into our savings." It's like, what are you talking about, hour, right? It's a very out-of-touch thing to say because you as a politician are very rich because every single one of them in Congress, usually at least, engages in some form of insider trading, and very few of them are trying to stop it, you know? So out of touch is one thing. Killing your dog and telling everybody about it. That sounds like somebody that wants to retire but doesn't know how. Like, you know what I mean? Like, political life's a bit much. But when I leave, I want to make sure they don't keep bugging me to come back, you know? I want to make sure when I'm gone, it's for good. Yeah. And she also... She keeps getting banned. There are a lot of reservations in South Dakota, and the leaders of each of these reservations keep voting and passing to ban her from stepping on the reservation, like ban her from the premises, which is like a good portion of the state. Like a lot of... I've never seen somebody get kicked out of outside. Like... You know what I mean? Because at a certain point, you just vote for them to get shot into space or something. Like, this is... Because I respect what the Native people were saying, because she was saying a lot about the reservation. She was saying that that's where all of the crime comes from, and that the cartels go through the reservation specifically. And they were like, not only do you not have proof of what you're saying, it's deeply offensive, and you shoot dogs. I don't want you anywhere around my children, my home, or anything. I feel like the only thing to do now is lock her in a room with Biden's dog. And like just for them to talk. You know what I mean? Just so like, he can probably get through to her better than a human can. Because we already tried talking it out. I feel very blessed to live in this time. I don't know if I lived in any other time if I would have made it. I don't say that in a self-deprecating way. I just I hear stories from my mom, stories from my grandparents, stories from just the past. I watch documentaries and I'm like, sounds rough. Yeah, I mean, and I'm from a rougher time than now because the present is usually better than the past, and it gives you hope for the future and everything. Like I remember when text messages weren't unlimited. I remember when, what's crazy? Before text messages were unlimited, there would be a lot of time where I'd want to text somebody. Maybe they were going through something, maybe they were, and I want to text them, but I only had so many. And remember minutes? Remember phone minutes? Okay, if anybody in here is very young, okay, so this is a rough concept to explain because it makes me sound like I'm from when the phone was invented. But for any of the younger people in here, just know that your cell phone, you making all these calls, your phones didn't used to be loose like that. Phones used to be much tighter, okay? Much stingier with time. They basically broke down your phone into minutes, and you had minutes that you could buy. They even broke down the day. Because at first, they charged you for minutes on minutes. Anytime you want to talk for an hour, it was this much you want to talk for. And then eventually, when they realized how to support more phones, they were like, listen, it's 25 cents a minute on your little plan, but everything's free after 5. And back in the day, after 5 o'clock, people's phones would blow up. People would... As soon as it hit 5 o'clock, it's like, I've been waiting to tell you. Like, the amount of times that it was like after 5, and then I got a call that actually was an emergency that I should have been called about at 2, but they didn't want to mess up their plan. So then they were weighing how badly I needed to know. The amount of calls about death I got at 5 p.m. And I'd be like, why do you call me when it happened? He wouldn't be more or less dead if I waited. Why I gotta burn minutes to tell you something that's gonna be true in a couple hours? Oh, it was a terrible time. It was rough. It was really bad. And texting fell under minutes. And so different phone companies had different plans. So for some people, one text was, a quarter of a minute. One text was half a minute. Some people, if they were being very expensive, a text was a whole minute, right? So it could be a very short text. It could be, hey, that's a minute. Which always felt crazy to me as a kid, because I got my first cell phone later than my other friends, because I didn't have money like that. So I had to buy my own cell phone and support it myself with minutes. And I remember I sent a text and it said, hey, and it would tell you how many minutes had been deducted. every time you did something, when you get off the phone, it would tell you like that was 4.5 minutes or whatever. And I remember I sent a text message, said, hey, and it said I used a minute. And I was like, no, that wasn't a minute, because hey is hey, hey, those weren't a minute. That I said hey, I didn't say hey. How was that a minute? How was that a minute? And there was nobody to argue with, because this is what killed me. Because sometimes when you try to call customer service and tell them they mess up your minutes and they deducting wrong and everything, it costs minutes to call them. So now I'm on the phone with them like, y'all need to hurry up and pick up, because it's minutes. Minutes are happening now. And do these minutes count? They're like, sir, these minutes count because you're on your phone. I'm like, no, but I'm talking to you about fixing my phone. They were like, yeah, but you're on your phone. I was like, oh, I think she's trying to keep me on the phone right now. I think she's trying to burn out all my minutes, because then she keep leaving and coming back and leaving and coming. What are you doing? Are you doing errands right now? Why can't you just continue the conversation and answer my question? So she got me burning through minutes. Anyway, text messaging used to sometimes be a whole minute for one text, right? And in a weird way, I wish we could go back to some form of limited text messages. We all get too much. We all get too many. Because this is the other problem with texting that I have now. Now that it's unlimited, people feel like you're obligated to them because they text you, because they feel like it's the same as talking. So as soon as they text you, it doesn't matter when they text you, as soon as they text you, that's like them being like, hey. But when you don't say anything for several hours, like if I said hey to you right now and you just stared at me, it'd be rude. It'd be rude. But you're also living your life. You're not obligated to say hey to me because I said hey to you. You're living your life, right? But then you'll text somebody, especially if it's important. You'll text somebody, and then you'll be like, all right, they'll text me when they get to it. I hope it's soon because this is important. And then maybe you're just on your phone. Maybe you open up Instagram or something, and then you see a new post, and then that new post is less than a minute old. I'm like, okay, that's after I text them, so they on their phone. They on their phone, and then most phones, a lot of those iPhones have that red thing that has red. I don't know why people are snitching on themselves like that. That's crazy. Because sometimes people tell me stuff in a text message I don't want to respond to. So then why would I put read by Josh at 6:03 and now it's 7:42 and they know I read it? And it was important. We need to go back. I don't know. Everything's always about more. Sometimes more is too much. What would our lives be like if there was a limit, a built-in limit, where you could only send? I'll give you even a wide margin, high ceiling. Let's say 200 text messages in a day. I don't think most people even hit that. 200? But if you live in a hectic life, you know what I mean? 200 is a pretty high ceiling. I had friends being like, no, 200 that's way too low. And I was like, do you go to work? What do you mean low? What are y'all talking about? I think it should be like very low. I think it should be like 25. 25 feels reasonable to me, because now there are gonna be people who hit you up, who get your number. You don't even know they have a number. They hit you up, and you're like, I'm not gonna waste a text on a who is this? Because that's what I used to do during the minutes, right? You used to get a text, you don't know this number, you're like, who is this? Your phone's like, that was a minute. It's like, no, it wasn't a minute, though. That doesn't take that long to say, who is this? I just said, who is this? And they text me. Shouldn't it call? Every time you explain how tech used to work to a young person, I've said this before, but it just feels like the dark ages. Feels like feels terrible. Like, they would also charge you if somebody texts you, and I'm like, that's not my fault. That's not, I can't control that over there. Because now you double dipping. It should charge the person who sent the text, and then the person. I'm just a listener. I'm a bystander. I wasted 5 minutes one time not knowing somebody. They were like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Who is this?" And they were like, "It's Greg." I was like, "I don't know a Greg." And then they were like, "Oh, sorry, wrong number." 5 minutes. What is my life? Charging me to open it like it's a secret every time. Your phone used to do that. It used to be a phone you could buy at the Dollar Tree, and then you put like 600 minutes on, thinking that's a lot. That's a lot. 600 minutes. That's crazy. I won't get through that. But then the way they rig it, they send a text message. It says it's from mom because mom is saved in my contacts, right? But then, I'm like, damn, can I afford to open it? I'm on my last 3 minutes. Ooh, my last 3 minutes. And it just says mom, and it says unopened. So the phone is coming like, your mom texted you. You feel like knowing what it's about? What if it's an emergency? What if it's important? Go ahead and open it up. It'll just take a minute.